Welcome back, everyone. This is the QGIS tutorial and getting started with that. I do have kids home, so I apologize for any random background noise. I'll do my best in post-production to mitigate that. But let's get started. We have to open Daisy Tools and mount RP drive. If you don't know what I'm talking about there, you need to go back a few videos. Okay. Now we've got that mounted, we are going to hop into the Discord and go to Essentials and head over to the QGIS downloads. Now, you should have already had an opportunity to get these. We are going, if you do get it, I recommend not getting the latest experimental build. Get the 3.28.4 LTR. That's the long-term release, and it's like their stable release right now. So get that, and then the other thing you'll need, which you should have already gotten, which I skipped a step. If you go to resources here, you're gonna want to open this tab and have this ready for you to use. This is opentopography.org. And then the other resource is on my Google Drive. So if you go in there, you'll want to right click the GTT and download. And then once that's downloaded, one thing you don't want to do, which you normally would, is unzip it. You're going to leave that zipped. That way it can install from the zipped file. So don't need that anymore, and we got this open. And you'll want QGIS installed, and once you have that ready to use, you can go ahead and launch it. Alright, these were test islands for me to learn and everything, so you might not have anything there, but that's okay. You're just going to go to Project and New. Okay, now that you're here, you need to install that plugin that you just downloaded. So you're going to go to Plugins, Manage and Install Plugins. Give this a second. Then it's going to pop this up. You can see I already have Game Terrain Tools, but if you didn't have that, you would go to Install from Zip, and you would click this, go to your downloads where it is, and you would just select that, and it will install it directly from there. Instead of pressing open, I'm going to cancel because I already have it. And once that happens, you can close out that window and then go to Plugins, and there it will be, Game Terrain Tools, and then you go click on Game Terrains. Now you have this very important tab for what we're doing here. As you can see, there is an engine with Unreal Engine 4, Unity, Infusion, and Arma. Go ahead and leave it on Arma for now. It shoots out an error with Infusion after the latest update for the certain size and resolution we'll be working with. So go ahead and leave it on Arma. This isn't definitive because we're just doing a height map and a sat map here, which could be used for either or and in multiple applications. Now, under SatMap here, we can have SatMap checked, and you want 4096 PX, and then leave these should be your defaults. Leave those. So take a look at those, and then we're going to go into Mask and leave it at OSM based, and then we go to Height Map. We'll check Export, and we want 4096, and then go to roads. We won't be working with roads in this tutorial. I will do one later, but if you, for example, right now at one time wanted to get your roads exported and your shapes for them, then it's going to be looking for a specific name. And what I mean by that is before we can even get a height map, we need a certain layer over here that will define that. So what we're going to do is grab that folder from our downloads that we had to unzip twice. Oh, you know what? We haven't done that, so let's do that. Let's hop up here. We are in Open Topography, and I'm also going to open Google Earth. I recommend you do the same as well. launch Earth. See if it's remembered one of my last positions. If you recognize this, it is from the Lord of the Rings. This is the Shire. Bag End, you can see all this area here. For the tutorial sake, I considered doing this one, but I don't think I will, because it doesn't have all the variety that I would like to show you over time. But for example, if this was somewhere you wanted, you find it on here and know your general location. So, you know, I looked, it was next to Hamilton, underneath Auckland. Here's New Zealand, and then I knew where to find it when I went into Open Topography. So on here, I like to put this on satellite. That'll make it this way, and then you can do hybrid, and then you get the satellite with the names, and then you can see a little bit better. Now the island that I want to make the essential island for the tutorials is near Japan. So it was a little hard for me to find it exactly because it's a smaller island right under here. So I went into Google Earth, and you can even type in exactly what you're looking for if you have a specific place, or just browse. But I will just use this because it makes it a little easier to find the exact spot. So here we are, there's Madagascar, South America. Okay, and now Japan. So we got Japan, we're gonna come closer to here, and it's just over here below South Korea, the island that I'm looking for. And I remembered this little shape. So what I did is I found this shape and I got close, kind of knowing where I was at in Open Topography. So I zoomed in, and I can see that same kind of shape. And I went there, and I knew that the island I wanted was just up here. It's pretty small. Now you might be thinking pretty large scale, and we'll talk a little bit about sizes here. But to get this to function and get the data that we need in the exact spot, we are going to do this. So now we're in this zone, we need to click select a region. Now we can click and drag a box over the region we want. Now, don't go and select an entire, like for example, I had a buddy who wanted to do New Zealand, and in his mind he was thinking of doing the whole of New Zealand. So that is such a large area, not even possible, right? And so he settled for a small southern island called Stewart Island, and he still could barely get all of that in like the largest map frame possible. So don't think too big, especially for your first project. All right, here's mine. I've got it selected, and now when I scroll down, you'll see you'd need it to be, I believe, over about 3 kilometers squared, whatever you do pick, like as a minimum for you to get the information that you need. If you're having trouble finding somewhere, you can also manually enter coordinates. Now we're going to come down here. We're going to leave this at GOTIFF. And then we are going to, in case you need these later, it's good to grab them now. I go ahead and just check all of these so I can have all those options, and then make an additional Google Earth KMZ output. Like I said, you will not be needing all that, but this is just my process I go through in case there's any that I want later. Now we'll come down, and here you need to give it a title. I'm going to put this as Essential Island. Oh, there it is from before. And then you can add a description. This is for tutorials. That's all I really need for that. And then you enter your email address. So let me do that real quick. Now, after you've entered that, you just press submit, and you'll get a raster job results. And then you will see that there is a query running, and it's extracting the digital elevation model, or DEM. So the data for an area of interest, and you just have to be a little patient. Depending on the size that you got is probably how long you'll wait. But around the exact same time that this query finishes, you should get an email that pops up, which will give you links to come back and refer to this in the future. So it just finished, and you'll have the DEM results and then your visualization visualization product. Sorry. These two, the one that you want to download is this one. Okay, so we are going to open up our downloads in the Windows Explorer, and we have this file that we need to extract. So we're going to unzip that, and then you'll notice inside there's one more. Kind of annoying, but it's just the way it is. And we'll extract that as well. And inside of that folder, you have this output, TIF. That is what we want to click and drag inside our QGIS project. Now, before we're going to be able to do anything, we're going to be getting errors as we try if we don't have this project saved with its directory somewhere. So what we're going to do is go into Project, Save As, and we want to go to our P drive, and we're going to make a folder here called QGIS. I'm going to go all caps for this one so it stands out. So I'm naming that QGIS, and in here we're going to name this Essential Island. And we're going to save that. Now that we have it saved, we will be able to do everything we need next. Now you might be wondering, why is this like that? That doesn't look good. This is just a kind of pixelated version of the height map, so you'll see the contrast between high and low. So what we need to do is come over here to SatMap, and we are going to press Add SatMap. Now you'll see that that has put a SatMap above this layer. If it was below, you'd still see it. And if that happens to you, you just have to simply drag that above. So now that looks like we expected. Okay, so now coming over here to height map, let's talk about size. So this is pretty important. You may have a much bigger area than what I'm doing. So I have 2048 set, right? And that's just enough to cover this island. This is not a huge island. My map Elderwoods, for example, is a 20,480, so it is much larger. Just to show you scale differences, if I were to click mark area here, that's going to put a box over this, and that would be selected. So this is what I'm going to do, but I also want to show you in case you're wanting to do a larger area or you picked a much bigger island or section of land. The largest that you're going to want to go is with what I'm teaching you, the parameters and everything, would be 20,480. Now let me just show you the difference here. We're going to zoom out and see that that is what I had on there. But if you press mark area with yours, look how much more space that covers. That is massive. You can fit like 4 Chinarises or more in there. That is what I have for Elderwoods, and I don't even use all that space. You know, I have ocean in between things, and it's a lot of work. I would not recommend that size necessarily for your first project or especially anything larger. But if you know you're wanting more like ocean space, maybe room for expansion later, then you can. But you probably know what you want to do, and you're going to do what you want to do. So this is just me letting you know. That gives you an idea if the area you want is too big. So one thing I want to mention is, for example, I had a buddy who wanted all of Australia. Not Australia, sorry. New Zealand. And this is as big as you should go, right? So it wasn't going to happen. So he settled for a large section of Stewart Island, and we worked with that. So just keep that in mind. The game engine and what you're working with, you can only really go so big, and nor would you really want to. That is a lot of work and can be a lot of issues. So now we need to go back to our little island. Let me just find it real quick. All right, here we are. Okay, so I'm changing mine back to 2048, and we're gonna mark this area. Now, everything we do from here is gonna happen within this marked area. So if you look, we have the name height map here. So if we were to download and try and export this, we're gonna get an error that says there's no layer titled GTT_height map. So we're gonna go where it says output from where we imported this, and we're gonna right click it and rename that layer. It needs to be lowercase GTT_height map, just like that. Now we'll be able to continue from here, just like we have one for SatMap. Both of those will be fine. I did want to mention, if you were wanting roads, it's going to expect to see something in that very same way. So what those are, I do have them here for reference for you. You would need a layer that says OSM multi-polygons and OSM lines. You already have height maps, so you won't have to worry about that. But those two, if you're wanting to export the roads and the shapes, I'll click download to show you kind of what that ends up looking like. See how it grabbed the roads and kind of highlighted the shapes of the island and stuff. That's what that's about. But you need layers in order to export that. Just wanted to cover that. I will cover a tutorial later on those, but right now we're not doing that. We're just going to focus on the height map and sat map today. So now we're going to go back in here and zoom in. Well, this is fine so we can see it all. And we've already marked the area. We want to make sure it's 4096, and we just need export checked, and we already have the sat map checked, so we're good to go. Now we need to download the height map within this frame that we marked. So we're going to click download. Okay, and now we're getting this. Normally I don't get asked for credentials, but I'll just go through and follow this process. You can do the same if that happens for you. Okay, once you have registered and confirmed your email, then you can put in your credentials. I'm going to have it save mine and press OK. And sometimes this stays at 0 with this latest update, I've noticed. Just give it a few minutes. It should still be good. And then, yeah, make sure you got your sat map. And after you've waited a few minutes, you will be able to press export. Okay, it says exporting to gtt_satmap.bmp. So that's good. Now it's going to be resampling and adjusting to the scale to the wanted resolution, and that's going to take you a little bit of time. It looks like that one says it's good. And now it's still exporting the height map. You can follow that progress right down here. Looks like it's working a little bit better than it was for me earlier today. So export shows at 50%, and so we'll be waiting for that. We'll be able to see that in our QGIS folder in the P drive. You'll see that you have all of these, and then you'll have a GTT export. So far the sat map is in there, and momentarily you shall have your height map, and you will be ready for the next stages. So let's just see how much longer that's going to take. Looks like I'm at 10% down here. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut forward to it finishing, as it's probably going to be another like 30 minutes or 20 minutes. So see you then. Okay, it has now finished. We have it saying export done. So we can go ahead and just save and close out QGIS. Okay, in your QGIS folder on your P drive, you should have a GTT_export folder. Inside there, you will have a heightmap.asc and a satmap.bmp. This is what you're going to need for the next video, and we'll be able to get you up and running on Terrain Builder, and everything should go pretty smoothly from there. Yeah, the next one will be generating a normal map for your height map, and then your normal map, your height map, and your sat map will all be imported into Terrain Builder, and you'll be able to hit the ground running. But I suggest you walk so that you can get everything taken in the right way. Okay, thank you for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff, and I'll see you in the next one.